Welcome to datascience.show, the podcast where data science meets executive leadership. We talk with top AI and analytics thought leaders about turning data into real business impact. If you're a C-level leader or data expert shaping the future, you're in the right place.
I'm your host, Mirko Peters. We explore how data science and AI drive real business impact, straight from the leaders making it happen. Today, data observability as executive strategy, turning telemetry into trust and faster value. In the next 20 minutes, I'll walk you through a practical C-level playbook, which telemetry actually matters, how to map signals to decisions, what operational cadences to enforce, and how to measure ROI so investments scale responsibly. Let's be direct. Observability isn't a set of pretty dashboards. It's the ability to convert runtime signals, lineage, freshness, schema, distributional change, and model outputs into governance-grade insight that executives can act on. If you're a CEO, CTO, Chief Data Officer, or Head of Analytics, this episode is for you. Imagine fewer surprise outages, faster time to repair, and a clean line from alerts to business decisions. That's the difference between models and value. Quick context and an exemplar guest profile to anchor this conversation. Picture a chief data officer at a mid to large enterprise, 20 to several hundred data products in production, regulatory requirements, and mixed teams across product, data engineering, and ML. Their pain, latent failures, unclear ownership, and slow remediation cycles that erode trust. I'll summarize the operational playbook that such a leader would use to convert telemetry into prioritized action. A quick word on why this matters now. As you scale data products and models, opaque failures multiply. Without observability, you get alert fatigue, finger-pointing, and stalled delivery. With it, you get prioritized triage, executive-level clarity, and measurable impact on KPIs, revenue retention, conversion, fraud reduction, cost avoidance. That shift from reactive firefighting to predictable delivery is what we're after. Section 1. Background and perspective. Here's the archetype I see succeeding. An operator with a product mindset, experience running both platform and ML teams, and a mandate to reduce operational risk while accelerating feature delivery. They don't chase every metric. They pick signals that map to business outcomes and insist on a clear signal-to-action path. Over time, they've learned three things. Instrumentation costs money. People resist new accountability. And telemetry is only valuable if it triggers a decision. How does that play out? At scale, teams standardize a small, high-value set of signals across pipelines and models. They codify ownership for each data product, and they embed observability checks into release gates. They also run simulated incidents to validate that alerts actually surface the failure modes that matter. Those practical steps convert observability from hope to habit. Section 2. Strategy to execution, the core of the playbook. Start with the telemetry stack that maps to executive decisions. Minimal, high-impact telemetry includes lineage, freshness/latency, schema validation, distributional and feature drift, and model output integrity. Add business-level KPIs, such as conversions or spend, and instrument end-to-end mapping between data signals and those KPIs. The goal is not more metrics. It's the right metrics tied to decisions. Let me unpack each signal briefly. Lineage tells you where bad inputs came from and who owns them. Freshness and latency detect upstream regressions that impact SLAs. Schema validation captures schema drift that often breaks downstream joins, and joins that silently corrupt features. Distributional shift and feature drift are early warnings that model performance will degrade, and model output integrity, such as sudden changes in score distribution or increased abstain rates, flags problems that directly affect business outcomes.
Concrete use cases. Case 1. Model drift. A sudden feature distribution shift reduces conversion by 3%. Observability should detect the shift, map it to the affected customers and revenue bucket, and trigger a decision: rollback, retrain, or apply a mitigation. Case 2. Upstream data regression. Lineage shows an ETL change upstream. Freshness alerts surface SLA breach. The triage workflow assigns the incident to the owning team and escalates to a cross-functional war room when minutes matter. Case 3. SLA on a data product. Observability detects degradation in latency that impacts downstream SLAs. The executive dashboard surfaces the potential revenue hit and triggers resource reprioritization.
Crucially, map each telemetry signal to the binary executive decisions you want. Fund, pause, escalate, or accept risk. Don't let alerts sit in a queue. For example, if a freshness alert affects an SLA tied to billing, the decision is immediate escalation and allocation of engineering resources. If feature drift is within tolerances, the decision may be monitoring and scheduled retraining. That mapping keeps observability outcome-focused rather than noise-driven. Operationally, enforce an incident cadence that includes automated detection, a first responder within minutes, a documented playbook, and an executive summary that translates technical impact into business impact. Instrument your runbooks to auto-populate with telemetry snapshots, lineage pointers, and recent deployments, reduce cognitive load during incidents, and shorten mean time to repair. Section 3. Leadership, Impact, and What to Prepare Next. Executives prioritize observability investments by starting with a signal-to-action map. Fund the telemetry that shortens decision cycles and directly reduces business risk. Avoid 2 traps: overinvesting in vendor dashboards that don't integrate end-to-end, and treating observability as a purely engineering concern. This is governance and product management at the executive level. You need clarity on ownership, incentives, and SLOs tied to business outcomes.
Measure ROI with leading indicators, MTTR, incident frequency, time to detect, and time to repair. Also measure outcome metrics, feature delivery cadence, percentage of data products meeting SLAs, and business KPIs lifted when observability prevents incidents. Start small. Demonstrate improvement on one high-value pipeline, quantify the impact, and scale investment only after proof. That's the change management path that sticks.
Looking forward, watch 3 emerging capabilities. 1. Automated root cause analysis that narrows suspects using lineage and correlated telemetry. 2. Causal-aware observability that surfaces not just correlations, but likely causal chains for failures. 3. Tighter integration between observability and governance tooling, automated audit trails that make compliance and explainability tractable. These are powerful, but they increase complexity and cost, so plan incremental adoption.
Persistent risks to manage. Don't confuse instrumentation for governance. Don't let observability produce a false sense of security, and avoid instrumenting everything at once. The mitigation is straightforward. Prioritize, assign owners, run simulated incidents, and validate that alerts trigger the intended decisions. Embed observability tasks into your SLO and incident cadences so they're part of the operating rhythm, not an afterthought. Key takeaways. 2 short executive checklists you can use this week. Checklist 1. Prioritize signals. Pick lineage, freshness, schema, distributional shift, and model output integrity for your top 3 data products. For each signal, define the owner, the SLA, and the decision mapping. Fund, pause, escalate, accept. Checklist 2. Prove ROI. Run a 60 to 90-day pilot on one high-value pipeline. Measure MTTR and business impact metrics, and use those results to fund a phased rollout.
A final reflection. Observability turns telemetry into managerial leverage. It gives executives the clarity to prioritize investments, the data to de-risk delivery, and the means to hold teams accountable without micromanaging. That clarity is what separates models from measurable value. If you take one thing away today, focus on signal to action, not signal to dashboard. If you found this episode valuable, subscribe and share it with your network. And let's connect on LinkedIn. I'm Mirko Peters. We'll be back with more conversations on how data science and AI create real business impact. Until next time, that's the difference between models and value.
Thanks for listening to datascience.show. If you found value in this episode, subscribe, share it with your network, and join us next time as we explore how data science drives smarter decisions and better business outcomes.